Welcome into Live in the Bay. We've got a great show for you.
Yes, we do. Coming up, we're coming back stronger than 90s trend with Charmed SF. We'll create the iconic trendy bracelet and let you know where you can make yours.
Then it is Filipino American History Month, and Reimagination Farm is helping us connect with nature through remembering the history of the indigenous lands.
Plus, MRM Education is helping students hone in on their studies to set themselves up for higher education. We'll chat with a college admissions specialist on what makes students stand out on their applications.
Plus, it is one of the hottest new brunch spots making everything from scratch. We'll taste some seasonal fall dishes from early to rise. There is so much happening today
On Live in the Bay.
Welcome into Live in the Bay. We're so glad you could join us today. I'm Rachel Maurer.
And I'm Jessica Wills. Happy Monday, everyone.
Yes. Did you have a good weekend, Jess?
I did. Pretty relaxing. Not much going on. One of those just like restful, organize everything, get your life in order kind of weekends.
Clean, do laundry.
Yes.
Love that. I had that kind of a Sunday. I leaned into the fall theme. I made pumpkin muffins last night. Yes.
Yum.
So yummy. So that's always fun.
Yeah, very fun. Love that.
Yeah.
Well, here we are, full week ahead of us, right?
We'll send the week, and we're going to make it a good one, Jess. We are kicking things off with In Case You Missed It, and today we're starting with a trend alert. So it seems like the TikTok generation always has a new trend, a new saying or slang, and today we are learning what they mean when they say and yap. So Y-A-P. Yap. So the word yap, like think about someone talking, yapping. That's exactly what they mean when they say this. So they'll say this and yap. For example, it'll be girls having a game night and chatting. So it's like game night and yap. Or going out and shopping and chatting. So and yap basically means to catch up or to gossip, essentially hanging out with your besties and getting it all out. But this is kind of what you do anyways, but they're saying like, let's get pizza and yap. And it means like just hang out and eat pizza and chat.
So it's kind of like, let's hang out here and yap with everyone about the hottest topics,
We
right?
yap, Jess.
Yeah, okay.
We yap every day.
And yap, look at us being super trendy.
Yes, and yap, there's always something new.
Yeah, there's always something new on TikTok. Thanks for breaking that down. All right, well, it would be hard to yap while doing this. Just north of us in Portland, something so fun is happening. The Pumpkin Regatta took off over the weekend. People dress in costumes and make hello, it's Monday here.
Okay, they race the boats.
Yes, race the boats made out of carved pumpkins. Everyone you see here bopping around is riding in a pumpkin boat. That is pretty cool. People come from as far south as South Carolina and Massachusetts to partake in these festivities. The goal is to get to the finish line without taking on too much water. Do you think that you could do this?
No, absolutely not. I think it's so funny that they dress up in costume, but they also have to carve these pumpkins out. So they're the giant pumpkins like we were talking about, carved out, and they're not that buoyant. I mean, they're kind of, but they kind of fall over, so then they take on the water.
Yeah, I think this is so fun.
Yes.
I would be down to try it. It's amazing to me that they float with like a human inside the pumpkin. Like that pumpkin is really holding you up.
I guess they have enough air, but they're also really heavy. So I don't know.
I think that's so cool.
Seems to sometimes work, at least. Looks like fun.
Yeah.
All right. Americans are expected to spend more than ever this year on Halloween decorations. Top spending states are South Dakota and New York. They spend $250 to $500 on Halloween decorations. The average person decorates before October 9th. Most people remove the decorations within a week of Halloween. That's pretty good. 70% of people say they spend 3 to 6 hours decorating for Halloween. And this is across our country. So 3 to 6 hours, Jess, do you feel like that's accurate for you?
3 to 6 hours
decorating for Halloween.
Yeah, I think that's a long time. I feel like that's a long time.
Feels long.
Yeah.
I guess if you have to carve a pumpkin, maybe that counts, which that definitely takes like at least 2 hours, I think, to carve it out.
Depending on the neighborhood. Like if you go through some of these neighborhoods, they spend way more than 6 hours.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And way more than $500. I mean, one of the big skeletons, like even that costs a few $100s.
Right, and putting it all together, like all the things. So
they can probably afford to have someone do it for them.
All right, well, speaking of money, there's lots happening in the tech world, plus some updates on social media. Rich DeMiro breaks it all down for us in today's Rich on Tech.
If your posts are set to public, starting soon, if you've blocked someone on X, they will be able to see your posts again. But but they won't be able to engage with them. This means they can't like, reply, or repost. Previously, if you blocked someone, they wouldn't be able to see any of your posts. Users are mixed on the change. Some worry it will cause more harassment on the platform. Others say you could always get around being blocked by just logging out and viewing posts that way. For the first time ever, Amazon has created a Kindle with a color screen. The Kindle KRON4 still uses e-ink, but can display color instead of just black and white. This means you can see your book covers in full color, color pictures inside books, and even highlight text in color. Page turns are also faster, but battery life does take a hit. The KRON4 lasts weeks on a charge instead of months. It's also a significantly more expensive Kindle at $280. The Kindle KRON4 is available October 30th. Amazon also improved the rest of the Kindle lineup and discontinued the Oasis, the last Kindle with physical page turn buttons.
I think people liked the page turn. Because if you've ever used a Kindle, it's weird to just like scroll and not be able to turn a page.
Yeah.
People, I think, like doing.
Yeah, I think that's like a satisfying thing with a real book too, like to turn the page.
Yeah.
Are you a real book kind of girl or a Kindle?
Yes, it has to be a real book for me.
I
Yeah, but
agree.
I don't read a lot, and my defense is that we read all day for work. So I'm like, going home and reading is the last thing I want to do.
Yeah, I could probably read more too, but recently I was going on a trip and I was like, I need a paper book, and my husband's like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
Yes.
He's like, just use the, he has a whatever, he has one of the iPads or something that he reads on, and I'm like, no, I need an actual hard book and I need to turn the pages.
Yeah, and then you can see how far you've gone and everything, so it's
the
satisfying.
smell of the book too
Yes.
is satisfying.
So much better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, punk rock is not dead, so dust off your checkered Vans because Vans The Warped Tour is coming on back. They're celebrating 30 years since the original music festival. In case you don't remember this blast from the past, let's take a look.
Everybody, I'd do anything just to hold you in my arms and try to make you laugh. Somehow I can't put you in the past. I'd do anything.
Truly feels like being back in the 90s and shopping at Tilly's, right?
Yes, yeah, sponsored by Journeys, right there taking you back.
Exactly, back at the mall. The full lineup has not been released yet as far as artists go, but the shows are scheduled to be in Washington, D.C., Long Beach, and Orlando. So we have one near us, kind of, in Long Beach. Some iconic past bands that played are Paramore and Blink-182. So this got us thinking about the 90s, Jess, and this is so fun. It would just be such a fun throwback to attend this, right?
Yeah, and you know they're going to bring out those classic 90s bands that are just going to reunite for this.
Yes.
So have they announced the lineup yet?
No, the lineup's not announced, and I do feel like since this isn't something that happens every year, like this is kind of a one-off, it'll be great.
Yeah.
Like I think the best possible people will be there.
I think so,
So
too.
this is so exciting. It's
Yeah.
such a throwback.
So fun.
Yes, so we were talking about the 90s and 2000s today for our question of the day. We want to know, what was one of your favorite things to come out of the 90s? Go ahead and scan the QR code on your screen or head to Instagram and Facebook at Live in the Bay TV to answer. Jess, what do you think?
My absolute favorite thing to come out of the 90s was the movie Clueless. Like,
Okay.
hands down.
Perfect.
And I feel like we kind of are on brand here
Yes.
today
So on brand.
with the 90s throwback outfits. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, there's so many good things. Raina mentioned this earlier, but like Lisa Frank, all the coloring stuff, Hello Kitty, like
Oh my
all the
gosh,
Hello
yeah.
Kitty characters. I had so many of the supplies of all the characters. I was obsessed with those. So many good things. We can like go on and on forever.
So fun.
Yes,
I
but-
remember Polly Pocket. Did you ever have the tiny Polly Pockets?
Ooh, yeah.
And mine was in like a seashell clam.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a clam is the right word. And it would open up, and then there was like Polly's little world in there.
Yeah.
I mean, just so many good songs, such good music,
Yeah.
such fun times in the 90s. I feel like it was a little bit more carefree. But I don't know if that's just looking back, maybe.
Yeah, I will say this. I was out this weekend. My husband and I went to In-N-Out. He's like, do you want to go to dinner? I was like, no, I
Love
just
it.
want like In-N-Out and chill. So we sat there. We never eat there. But everyone that's hanging out there on a Saturday night is like teens, you know, and
Yes.
just like kind of, and they were all in their like clothing that I was wearing when I was in middle school.
It's
It
back.
was a mind trip. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, like these kids are wearing exactly what I was wearing, but they're much younger than me now. And
Yes.
it's full circle. It's all come back.
It always comes back around, which is fun. You got to
Yeah.
save your stuff,
I
right?
know. I don't know if it would fit me.
Yeah, exactly. Same.
But we know that you guys have some fun 90s things that you want to shout out. And remember, you see the QR code right there in the corner of your screen. Scan that and send us your answers. And while you do, let's get a check-in on this weather.
Well, today going to be a lot of relief for us. First of all, temperatures are not getting too terribly warm, but second, that fire danger is pretty solidly on the outs at this point. Got a low passing right to our north today, and we did actually see a couple of sprinkles in Northern California earlier today. For us in the Bay Area, no chance of rain, but we do get a nice onshore breeze that remains steady as we do move into the afternoon. With that, temperature is going to be kept relatively mild. A lot of 60s in the city itself, 60s right along the coastline, and then at the very warmest, it's really only rising to the 70s for much of the rest of the Bay Area. Redwood City at 76 degrees, that same temperature in San Jose. Morgan Hill, you're our warm spot today at 79 for your daytime high. Low 70s up and down the East Bay shoreline, aside from Berkeley, where you're hanging on to 68 for your high today. Vacaville, Yountville, Fairfield, among spots at 78 degrees. Looking ahead, tomorrow's temperatures are going to be virtually a repeat of what we have today. A little fog in the morning, some sunshine in the afternoon. After that, temperatures will rise just a couple of degrees, taking us to the low 80s by Wednesday. Chance of maybe a light sprinkle come Friday.
The warm weather is back for a little while.
I was going to say, I hope we do get a sprinkle because I love the change.
Yeah, I know. I think people are itching for that true fall weather. Totally. It's going to be here soon enough, don't you worry. Still to come in the show, the group helping students to foster a lifelong joy for learning. How MRM Education is helping students hone in on their academic skills to achieve their education goals.
And later on, Early to Rise is the new brunch spot that will have your taste buds tingling. That and so much more when Live in the Bay returns in just 2 minutes.
News Nation has a trust rating higher than CNN, Fox, and MSNBC. You can only be the most trusted name in news with the most trusted names in news. Another reason why News Nation is news for all America.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
News Nation Thursday. J.D. Vance, Chris Cuomo, one-on-one in the final days of this election nail-biter. Watch the special News Nation Town Hall. Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on News Nation and streaming on X.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
If a natural disaster shows up at your doorstep, you can't just turn it away. That's why it's important to prepare for emergencies before they show up. Go to ready.gov/plan to find the tools and tips you need. And make a plan today.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. Really just all about the money.
Do you know what can get your friends to vote this year? You can. Because when people are encouraged by friends like you, they're far more likely to vote. So use your power. Ask your friends to make a voting plan at votevotevote.com.
Getting into colleges today is more competitive than ever. So what can make your college application stand out against all others? We're joined now by MRM Education College Admissions Specialist Matt McGee to learn more. Matt, thanks so much for being here at Live in the Bay.
Thank you for having me, Jessica.
Yes. Okay, getting into college was a long time ago for me now at this point, but I do remember that it was so stressful, and just thinking about the admissions and the essays and all the things, I'm happy that you're here to chat with us about it all. So what would you say, you know, makes MRM education stand out? Because a lot of people are using college consultant, you know, people these days. So what sets you guys apart?
Yeah, so yes, you're definitely right. College consultants are everywhere nowadays. A lot of college counselors, I think they really take you through the basics as far as what you were talking about, the personal statement, getting your deadlines, making sure that you're hitting everything on time. But we like to dive in a lot more comprehensively, and we like to really kind of make sure that we're setting up the student with a mentor, setting up a student profile so that we can get involved with their extracurriculars, get involved with their volunteering, really all aimed at trying to make their application stand out.
For you guys really focus on, you know, your students getting into their top schools, and 97% of your clients get into at least one of their top 3 schools. How are you guys able to achieve that?
Well, like I said, we really like to focus on the student. We really like to focus on what gets them excited. What are they passionate about? What do they really care about? I was speaking at a conference the other day, and I asked the question. There's about 1,000 students and parents there, and I said, raise your hand, those of you who play a musical instrument of some sort. And every hand in the room went up. I then said, all right, so now who actually likes playing this instrument and who thinks that they're going to get into college because they play this instrument? About 90% of the hands went down. And this, I think, is one of the major problems with college admissions, is that people are trying to tell the college admissions officers what they want to hear. They're trying to tell the colleges what they want to hear rather than being the most authentic, the best version of themselves. When you think about how many high schools we have in the U.S., there's something like 25,000 high schools. That's 25,000 valedictorians, most of whom are not going to be able to get into an Ivy League school.
Wow.
Why? Because they're not standing out. Their grades are great, their test scores are great, but they're not doing what they need on the applications to really pop.
Okay, so we got to dive into this then. So how do they stand out on their applications?
It's a great question. It's the magic that everybody's looking for. Get interested, get involved, find out what you're passionate about and dive deep into that. And don't sell yourself short. I have a lot of parents who come to me and they say, well, my kid's only interested in video games. Like, how am I supposed to pitch that for colleges? But really, any interest, there's a way to pitch that for colleges through work ethic and ambition. We had a student once who she came to us. She's now in business, but she really loved fashion. So we said, why don't you set up a YouTube channel? And so she started a YouTube channel when she was a freshman and had, you know, friends and family following her. But soon she became the go-to person at her high school. So it had a couple hundred followers and everybody was coming to her for fashion advice. Then she put on a fashion show and she invited the local paper, and that got coverage, and it really blew her up across the region. And so by the time she was doing her college applications, her YouTube channel had over 100,000 followers.
Wow.
So she was able to sell this to universities as not just like a fashion interest, but look at my work ethic. Look at me showing up day in, day out. Look at my business acumen. I had to coordinate with schools and newspapers. I had to engage with the community. And that's the stuff that schools really like to see.
So for the 90% of the room that raised their hand saying they play the instrument, how do they turn that into something that's interesting and standing out, you know, for the colleges on their admissions?
So for sure, that's kind of where we come in, because like I was saying at the beginning, where most college counselors will just sort of say, hey, you know, let's find the schools that are right for you. We want to set you up with a mentor, someone who essentially becomes part of your family, right? And you have unlimited access to them, and they help you figure out your extracurriculars. They help you figure out what volunteer opportunities, what you should be doing during the summer. And this person, when they're working with a young person who's in 7th or 8th or 9th grade, they're usually young people who we hire who are just out of school, and so they can empathize with what they're going through. They can connect with them, and it's somebody different than their parents or their teachers telling them that they need to get interested in something.
Absolutely. Okay, I have to ask, what's the biggest mistake that you see students make when they're applying to college?
That's a great question. I would say one of two things. Not enough specificity and not enough bringing your personality. A lot of students, especially high-achieving students, want to say, these are all the things that I did. Look, I did this volunteer and I did this research. But really what colleges want to see is who you are. What makes you laugh? What makes you interesting? What's going to make you a vibrant part of their campus? That's really what they're looking for. And additionally, specificity in terms of why do you want to go to the school you want to go to? I've had multiple students come to me and say, I want to go to Stanford for business. And I have to tell them Stanford doesn't have an undergraduate business program. So you got to get specific about why you want to go to a school. Why Stanford? Just because it's Stanford, or is there something about it? And when they ask you the question, why us? You should do your research. Figure out the classes, the professors, the programs, and bring them back to how they align with your values as a person.
Matt, this is all such such helpful information. Thank you so much for sharing. If somebody wants to reach out to MRM Education and get connected with you guys, how can they do that?
Yeah, for sure. They can reach us at www.mrmeducation, or they can find us on Instagram at MRM Education.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I know this is going to be really helpful for a lot of students.
Good, I'm glad. Thank you, Jessica.
To learn more, you can visit the website mrmeducation.com, and we'll also have a link on our website as well. Head to liveinthebay.tv. Coming up, we're revisiting the 90s. Charmed SF is here showing us how she makes custom vintage bracelets. And as we head to break, you can still answer our question of the day. Just scan the QR code right there. Today we were asking, what was one of your favorite things to come out of the 90s? Let us know, and your answer could be read a little bit later in the show. Don't go anywhere. Live in the Bay, we'll be right back.
That's $78.29.
Oh, I've only got $50. Take out the cheese puffs and the broccoli. I mean, who likes broccoli?
I don't. Only $22.87 to go.
It would be faster with the Empower app. Empower Cash Advance gives you up to $300 instantly. No late fees, interest, or credit checks.
I've got money. Keep the cheese puffs, but leave out the broccoli.
Get Empower Cash Advance up to $300 instantly. Download the Empower app today.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
I'm your retirement fear, but don't be scared. You're still in pre-tirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. This is pretirement.org.
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.
News Nation Thursday. JD Vance, Chris Cuomo, one-on-one in the final days of this election nail-biter. Watch the special News Nation Town Hall. Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on News Nation and streaming on X.
Ooh, pretty colors.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
Do you know what can get your friends to vote this year? You can. Because when people are encouraged by friends like you, they're far more likely to vote. So use your power. Ask your friends to make a voting plan at votevotevote.com.
News Nation has a trust rating higher than CNN, Fox, and MSNBC. You can only be the most trusted name in news with the most trusted names in news. Another reason why News Nation is news for all America.
If a natural disaster shows up at your doorstep, you can't just turn it away. That's why it's important to prepare for emergencies before they show up. Go to ready.gov/plan to find the tools and tips you need. And make a plan today.
Vintage is so back, and one of the iconic accessories we all wanted back in the 90s and 2000s was a personalized charm bracelet.
Now you can get a true vintage piece right here in the Bay Area. We found the perfect person to chat with about this and show us how she makes this all happen. We want to welcome in Alicia Marizani, founder of Charmed SF. Alicia, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. These charms have become my entire life, and I'm so happy that people are excited to hear about them.
Yes, so tell us a little bit about Charmed and kind of what you do here.
Yeah, so I do mostly events and pop-ups in the Bay Area, but I also travel trying to get these bracelets in the hands of as many people as I can, because it's such a fun and nostalgic experience, and the feedback I get is so fun, and people are saying it's therapeutic and nostalgic, and they're getting in touch with their inner child, or they're finally getting one of these bracelets for the first time, and I just love making it an accessible and fun experience.
Yeah, and I think that it's just so fun. Like you said, people are just crazy for these right now. Why do you think that these are back and so popular right now?
I think that part of it is that It's unique to everyone. The average bracelet is about 18 charms. So those are 18 different things that you can have on your wrist, on display, be able to talk about or be reminded of at any time. And I think vintage fashion is so popular right now, especially the sustainability aspect, being able to get these things out of storage and source them from people that are just hanging on to them and get them out into the world is so fun for me. And people are excited to have nostalgic and vintage things.
Very cool. So let's talk about what you bring kind of when you go to, like, let's say a pop-up or a birthday party, because you can hire you for your birthday party, which
definitely.
I think is so fun. What do we have here? And tell us a little bit about the different pieces.
Yeah, so I made these trays that have a grid on them. So I start by explaining to people how to take the charms off of their strands. I keep them in these strands just because, can you imagine spilling thousands and thousands of charms on accident? It'd be a mess. But I keep them in these strands and keep the similar ones with each other. So when you're ready to take one off of the strand, I teach you how to do it at any pop-up or party. And you can start by sorting through all of the trays that I bring. I bring them in different themes per tray here. And it's great at kids' parties. Sorry.
No. Is there any rhyme or reason to how people should build their bracelet? You know, like what charms should you be picking, or kind of, you know, how do people put in the thought to put it together?
So sometimes people have a really good idea, like they've seen stuff on my social media or other people's social media and they know what they're looking for. But more often than not, I kind of lead them in the experience. I say, like, what kind of sports are you into? What kind of hobbies do you have? What's your job? And I might have a charm for that. Chances are there's a charm for almost anything. Since these are all true vintage and dead stock, the themes on them can be a little dated, but that's part of the fun. There's charms that say email, there's charms that just say mailbox, and graduation years that kids are coming to my pop-ups and birthday parties and they're finding charms for their birth year. But
instead of their graduation.
They were graduation year charms to begin with.
Amazing. Okay, so let's create a bracelet. Jess and I want to create one, so we're going to let you do the twisting, though, because it seems like you're faster. Okay, so for example, I picked out some of these, so I wanted to do like a pink theme, pink and purple theme. So how do we get started here?
Definitely. So the average bracelet is about 18 charms, which is 2 rows on this grid here. So I have folks pick out the charms that they want and lay them out in the order that they want them. So I can give you this tray here and then start picking out some other charms that you're interested in.
Okay, we have some over here that we kind of scattered around. So I'll do this and then a blue flower maybe. Love my sis, Jess, this one's for you.
Perfect.
Okay, we love this little vintage cell phone. I say vintage. It's like a typical cell phone, but it has the numbers on it and everything. It's not
Alicia, so let's have you put this one together here.
Definitely. So we have, let's do one more and get started with this. We have one row picked out. I remember you were interested in this clay one earlier.
Yes.
All of the designs on these charms are interesting. Some of them are clay, some of them are stones, some of them are enamel, some of them are welded on. There's a lot of like diversity in the subject matter of the charms, and like I said, a lot of them can be dated, but that's part of the fun, like the cell phone you're talking about. But I'm just amazed at like the designs that people came up with in the 90s and 2000s to put on these charms and how relevant some of them still are today.
So if someone wants to hire you maybe for their birthday party, how can they go about doing that?
Yeah, so my website is charmednsf.com, and I have a contact form listed there and also a way to email me. And from there, we can talk about more details about your event and figure out if it's something we can make happen. I do private events in the city and can travel outside of the city as well.
Okay, awesome. All right, we're
that is
almost
very
done.
cool. Okay, can we hook that onto Rachel's wrist?
Yeah, so the great thing about these charms is that they have springs on the inside, so they come apart and then come back together on the other side of your wrist. A lot of people ask me, like, how do I hook it together on my wrist, and I'm like,
Okay.
it's a full circle.
Awesome.
Okay, so here's my finished bracelet.
So cute.
Very, very cute. Yeah, it has some meaningful ones and then just some colorful ones, like little stones and little flowers. So this is very cool. Alicia, we so appreciate you coming today and showing us how to do this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, to get a special bracelet of your own or to learn more, you can head to liveinthebay.tv.
Coming up, we're going on a ride following the electrifying story of a suave and daring criminal from the 1970s. We'll take a look at the trailer for Freedom. Stay right there. Live in the Bay is coming right back after this short break.
It took until I was an adult to really appreciate my parents' hustle. Rent, groceries, I get now just how exhausting that must have been. That's why I use Empower. With Empower Cash Advance, I have up to $300 at my fingertips, with no interest, no late fees. They never even check my credit. Empower is so quick and easy. So when I'm stressed and anxious about money, Empower Cash Advance comes through for me every time. See for yourself. Download Empower and get up to $300 now.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. Really just all about the money.
Think you know Cuomo?
Hey, Democrats, you want to do better? Tell your side of the story better.
Well, check him out now.
Trump deserves credit.
Cuomo, weeknights at 8, 7 Central, only on News Nation. News for all America.
Do you know what can get your friends to vote this year? You can. Because when people are encouraged by friends like you, they're far more likely to vote. So use your power. Ask your friends to make a voting plan at votevotevote.com.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed,
Welcome back into Live in the Bay. I'm Rachel Maurer.
And I'm Jessica Wills.
Still to come on the show, it's the farm in Lake County cultivating community connections through agriculture. We hear from Reimagination Farm and how you can be part of their upcoming retreat.
Plus, early to rise, a brunch made from scratch. We learn what goes into their delicious shrimp and grits.
Can't wait to taste it. But first, let's see what you had to say about our question of the day. Today, we asked you, what was one of your favorite things to come out of the 90s? And Jess, what did you say as an answer to this?
Clueless, the movie.
Clueless, the movie. I said there are so many good songs, there's so much good music, and there were such fun little toys. The Polly Pocket was my toy of choice.
Absolutely.
Yes, we want to hear what our viewers had to say. Let's read the first one. Jenny from San Francisco gave a great answer. Tamagotchi. I loved these. Jess, did you have one?
Yes, I did. I loved them too. They were so fun.
So good. I remember I was in like 3rd grade and I used to bring it to class. I mean, we weren't allowed. That was like the phone back then. It was like everyone was on their Tamagotchi trying to keep it alive. Yeah.
Yeah, you had to feed it. You had to like take it for walks, wasn't it?
Yeah, you had to clean. It went to the bathroom.
Yeah, clean up after it went to the bathroom.
It
all
was
the things.
really something.
It was your little baby that you were taking care of, and you had to let it grow. So fun. Definitely a classic from the 90s. Thank you for that. Let's bring in our next viewer. This one comes from Christy from San Pablo, who said music.
Yes,
Yep.
totally agree. Maybe you can go to the fest that's sponsored by Journey and probably Tilly's as well. Yeah, it seems like so much fun. The Vans, was it Vans Festival?
I can't think
Something
of the
like
festival.
that.
Yeah.
The Vans
But
Fest.
you know what you just reminded me of? Today on the drive home, I'm going to pull up 90s hits, and then it's
Good
going to
one.
throw it, you know, all the 90s classics. So
Yes.
I'll be enjoying that on my drive home.
Love that idea.
Yeah.
All right, Howard F., let's hear from you. Writing in on Facebook, who said it must be the internet. The World Wide Web, launched as an application in 1991, made the internet accessible to everyone. Great answer, Howard, and how much it has changed our lives, right?
I can hear the AIM dial-up up right now as we're here. Yeah.
Did you leave an away message?
Of course, absolutely.
Yes. So fun. Yeah. MySpace. I'm surprised nobody mentioned MySpace. Maybe that was the 2000s.
Yeah, I think that might have been 2000.
I don't know. Feels like a while ago.
Too many good things to come out of the 90s, though. Thank you so much to everyone who sent in their answers. We always love to hear from you. It truly is one of our favorite parts of the show, getting to interact with all of you guys on our viewer voice. All you have to do is scan the QR code there, or you can go to our social media pages as well at Live in the Bay TV to answer. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Jess, it is time for our movie of the day. Another great part. We're talking about freedom today. Now, it tells a story of a criminal from France in the 70s, known for his charm and his finesse. Sounds scary, right? Let's take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't move. This is a holdup. Stay calm and no harm will come to you if you do as I say.
Just grabbing a lollipop.
Sulac Bruno, suspected of being the perpetrator of a dozen holdups. Who is this guy?
Ladies and gentlemen, nobody move. Nobody move. This is a holdup.
Bruno Sulac, 28 years old, reputed to abhor violence.
We're stealing from bigger thieves than us.
Robin Hood.
You know that all the cops and friends are looking for you. We're gonna catch you guys in a week, in a month, a year.
I don't really like my hand being forced by anyone, ever.
It's gonna end badly, you know that?
It's okay. Life, my love, is not eternal.
Oh, no!
He's here, he's in Paris, go find him!
Me, I'm not a gangster's girl, I'm with an artist.
I could have shown you how to do things, you know?
What kind of things?
Life? Yeah, but you see, I chose this. I'm free.
That, of course, is the actor from Emily in Paris.
Yes.
It's kind of weird seeing him as playing a bad guy,
With
right?
a different look, too. His hair's darker and I think longer.
Yeah, but he still has that same charm. That's like the whole thing,
which
know?
is key.
Yeah.
This is like a little bit spooky and dark, but also seems good. Like, I could totally watch this.
Yeah, it's based on a true story, so I always feel like that's interesting. You know, like you can watch, you're like, this actually happened. I could watch it.
Yeah.
A little bit of history.
So cool. All right.
If you want to check it out, Freedom will stream on Prime Video starting November 1st.
Alrighty, when we come back, the farm in Northern California that's serving as a healing space and a learning center. We hear from the co-founder of Reimagination Farm.
And as we head to break, here's a live look outside. Stay with us. Live in the Bay. We'll be right back.
It took until I was an adult to really appreciate my parents' hustle. Rent, groceries, I get now just how exhausting that must have been. That's why I use Empower. With Empower Cash Advance, I have up to $300 at my fingertips, with no interest, no late fees. They never even check my credit. Empower is so quick and easy. So when I'm stressed and anxious about money, Empower Cash Advance comes through for me every time. See for yourself. Download Empower and get up to $300 now.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything.
Call that a plasma sword?
For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
I'm your retirement fear, but don't be scared. You're still in pre-retirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. This is pretirement.org.
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.
If a natural disaster shows up at your doorstep, you can't just turn it away. That's why it's important to prepare for emergencies before they show up. Go to ready.gov/plan to find the tools and tips you need. And make a plan today.
I am now a person in long-term sustained recovery from substance use. I knew that I had something that could help. So when I tell people like poetry saved my life, hope can save your life, it's not a platitude.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
America's fastest growing cable news network is now in more homes than CNN and MSNBC. Looking for a news network that respects all Americans? You have a new home. News Nation is news for all America.
Reimagination Farm is a family-owned farm that serves as a healing space and learning center. It's a space that asks their visitors to reimagine our connection to the land and each other. Here to share more is co-founder of Reimagination Farm, Dr. Robin Rodriguez. Dr. Robin, thank you so much for being here at Live in the Bay.
Thank you so much for having me, Jess.
Yes. Give me a little bit about the history of Reimagination Farm.
Yeah, well, Reimagination Farm really started as a way of honoring actually my late son. So my son decided to live in the Philippines, which is where my parents were born, where his grandparents were born, in 2018 because he was really eager to learn from indigenous communities and to support them. And unfortunately, he went to one community in the island of Mindoro shortly after that community had been hit by several typhoons in early 2020. So he was there to help with rebuilding efforts. And of course, 2020, a few months later, was global lockdown. And unfortunately, we lost him at that time. He was just 22 years old. He wasn't able to get medical help. And, you know, for us, the farm was really a way to honor him. You know, he was there to learn from indigenous communities, to also support them as they deal with climate change and climate disasters. You know, the Philippines is actually the #1 natural disaster capital in the world.
Wow.
This is based on just recent kind of rankings. We see just how we're hit in the United States by climate disaster. And our farm really is, in a way, how we can, you know, do our own part, even on a small scale. We are a regenerative farmers, so that means that we're really concerned about soil health and really trying to recover all of the ways that the soil has been completely damaged by past and actually current agricultural practices that are very, very extractive and actually damaging in the long run. So we honor him. It's a way of supporting kind of our indigenous communities, not just in the Philippines, who are at the front lines of climate change, but also here in the U.S. I mean,
Yeah.
October isn't just Filipino-American History Month, it's also the time we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. So.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I'm so sorry about your son, and I just love that you are turning this farm into something beautiful, you know, to remember him by, and also to inspire and educate others. Why is it so important to connect to the land and the indigenous people that were there before you?
Yeah, I think it's about, you know, I think we all benefit. I think there's a way that we sometimes forget about the fact that so much of how we live our lives, the possibility for the lives that we live, has to do with the kind of land stewardship that indigenous people have you know, done in the state of what we now call California for thousands of years. And I think this is a way that we are kind of honoring all of those generations of stewardship. And again, you know, in the context of climate change and climate disaster, whatever we could do in our own small way as farmers, but also because we are a learning center, we're also a healing space, but it becomes an opportunity, I think, to engage other people in really thinking and reimagining their own relationship to land.
Yeah, I think that it's just always important to connect back to your roots and to history, and you just learn so much from that, and there's things that you can implement into your life. I want to talk about your harvest this season, and you brought a couple of things here on the table. Tell me about the harvest this season.
Yeah, so this is just season 2 for Reimagination Farm. Wow. I was a professor for many, many years at UC Davis, only started farming 2 years ago. So this is just season 2 yield, but super excited. So what we have here, this green, it's called a bottle gourd in English, but upo in Filipino, which is very much an important kind of vegetable that folks use in soups. We have marigold, so we do have an event coming up to, it's sort of the Filipino version of Dia de los Muertos, or, you know, or the Araw ng Patay, Day of the Dead, or Undas. So we have marigolds that kind of honor the ancestors. We have an event on the 9th about that. Tomatoes. Tomatoes are such a staple of Filipino cuisine. I mean, every Filipino dish starts with garlic, onions, and tomatoes. We've got great array of tomatoes. Okra. My husband is Hmong, so we also have the lemongrass and Thai chilies that are very much a part of his cuisine. And yeah, I mean, we didn't expect so much bounty, so I had to learn how to preserve food very, very fast. So I have like these pickled bitter melon, also very Filipino, and a couple of jams that I made that I learned to make.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on a plentiful harvest for season 2. That's incredible. And these just look so colorful and bright. I want to talk about this book, of course. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so this is Munganan Lola. This is coming out of Sawaga River Press, and we're really excited to collaborate with them because we are going to be launching the book on November 9th. So that's the weekend, Veterans Day weekend, 3-day weekend. And it's a great story. I'm not going to give it all away. People should read it. But the story really is about connecting with our elders, connecting across generations, and really connecting with our ancestors. And so we just thought it was a perfect collaboration because so much of what we do too is to hold space for healing. Nature really healed me during the course of my kind of grieving with the loss of my son. And so we want to be able to hold space for folks to come and think about their ancestors, honor them, and hold space for collective grief.
Yeah, and if people want to come to the farm and check it out and experience all that you have to offer, where can they find you?
Yeah, well, we are on Instagram at Reimagination Farm, and we also have a website, reimaginationfarm.org.
Okay. What do you hope that people take away from the farm?
Yeah, well, you know, it's in my new classroom. It is Filipino American History Month, so this is a place where I teach Filipino American history and more. So I really hope that people learn to reconnect to land, to food systems, their histories. It's a great place to do all of that learning.
Yeah. Dr. Robin, thank you so much for joining us here. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
To learn more about Reimagination Farm, head over to our website at liveinthebay.tv. We'll have a link there. Rachel, what's next?
Alrighty, thank you so much, Jess. After the break, Early to Rise is the brunch spot where everything is made from scratch. We are meeting the San Francisco chef who is making us something delicious next. And as we head to break, here's a look at what you can catch tonight right here on KRON4. Stay right there, Live in the Bay. We'll be right back.
So my coworker saw my bank account and was like, how are you surviving on $25? I'll tell you, if you really want to know how I keep from overdrafting, I use Empower, because Empower Cash Advance gives me up to $300 instantly. With no interest, no late fees, they never even check my credit. I remember the first time I tried Empower, I really needed to pay for gas. And Empower Cash Advance saved me. Like, poof, all that stress, gone. So take it from me, download the app, get up to $300 now.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
I'm your retirement fear, but don't be scared. You're still in pre-retirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. This is pretirement.org.
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.
If a natural disaster shows up at your doorstep, you can't just turn it away. That's why it's important to prepare for emergencies before they show up. Go to ready.gov/plan to find the tools and tips you need. And make a plan today.
News Nation has a trust rating higher than CNN, Fox, and MSNBC. You can only be the most trusted name in news with the most trusted names in news. Another reason why News Nation is news for all America.
Ooh, pretty colors.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
Do you know what can get your friends to vote this year? You can. Because when people are encouraged by friends like you, they're far more likely to vote. So use your power Ask your friends to make a voting plan at votevoteboat.com.
Welcome back in. We all love a delicious brunch, and today we are so happy to have Early to Rise in the studio cooking us something yummy.
Yes, they are. They just opened this year and have everything you could want for brunch on the menu, all made from scratch. Here today is Chef Andrew McCormick. Chef Andrew, thank you for being here.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm very, very excited.
Yes, everything on the table smells so good. We can't wait to try the shrimp and grits we're going to taste here. First, will you just talk to us a little bit about Early to Rise and what you do there?
Yeah, so Early to Rise, grew out of a pop-up that we did for years, and the whole thing was always to be this really warm, inviting place with simple food that we just put an awful lot of work into. So we really take a lot of pride in the details. We make all of our own bacon. We cure it and smoke it in-house, ham, Canadian bacon. We make our own bread, butter. We make our own hot sauce. All the things.
Wow.
So.
Amazing. Yeah. Anything that's coming together all made from scratch, you know, is going to be delicious. You guys just opened earlier this year. Where are you guys located?
Yeah, just actually right at the end of February. And we're in Nopa and just 2 blocks away from Divisadero, block up from Bob's Donuts. So we're in a really good spot.
Fabulous. And real quick, speaking of donuts, I want to talk about what else, some of the other goodies you guys have on the menu before we get started cooking today. Tell us about what we have here.
Oh, so we're kind of our guests love our donuts. We do a rotating flavor of fruits that we find at the farmer's market and different, things we get inspired by. And what we have right now is our heirloom cantaloupe melons with a little bit of lime. And then also our warm sugar rolled donuts that come right out of the fryer and get served warm. So we also make our own bagels from scratch every morning. We boil them in malt syrup and bake them in a hearth oven. And we just love a really, really simple lox sandwich just with the fresh made bagels. So
yeah, my mouth is like watering over here. Developing. Well, the dish that we're diving in into today is the shrimp and grits, right?
Yes,
ma'am. So let's dive in. You're going to take us through how to make this.
Yeah, totally. So shrimp and grits is something I grew up with. My mom used to make, there's lots of different ways to do it, but I mean, from South Carolina, and this is something we do. Yeah. It's just part of every restaurant. And
this is the real deal, basically, is what you're saying, right?
And I'm going to start you off with some of these grits. These are from Anson Mills, and I have the good fortune to be from the town that these grits are milled in.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah, no, it's really cool.
Hometown for you.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
no, it's pretty awesome. So
these look so good and they look hot, which we are so excited about.
Yeah, man.
And we can't wait to get all the toppings too. Okay, so first step is to get the grits down in the plate. These plates are beautiful.
Yeah, I know we were like admiring all the plateware and the mugs. I love these as well. Is there cheese in this though?
No, this is just butter.
Okay,
yeah, we do like cheese grits, but I do not. Worked in Italian restaurants for a long time, and cheese and seafood, I don't mix that.
Yeah,
so yeah, I don't know.
Fair enough.
So it's a thing now. So
what's next for us?
Okay, let's get started. First off, we're gonna put the shrimp. So yeah, and this is real simple. We're just gonna dump this right on the left side of the plate.
Okay.
We're done with that.
I went all over.
It in the middle.
Throw it away. No, just kidding. No.
Okay.
Next up to bat, poached egg. We're gonna put that on that side.
Oh, I was wondering what this was.
didn't know.
Yeah.
Poached egg, love that.
Okay, perfect.
Then next up to bat, we got our, this is a really cool garnish, is just roasted sweet California onions and mushrooms. And we're gonna put that right on top of the shrimp.
Love that. Okay.
Bam.
Yum. Oh my goodness, this smells so good. We can't wait to have it.
And then next up to bat is one of my favorite things we have on the table here. This is our homemade bacon. It takes 2 weeks to get this on the plate.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of work, but we smoke like hundreds of pounds at a time. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I'll do that too, Jess.
And then we put that on there. And you got a big old strip of that in your Bloody Mary too. So do not forget. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, and we all got Bloody Marys.
Yeah.
I love this. You know exactly what we like. Okay.
And then last we got some sweet Jimmy Nardello peppers and scallions we're gonna put on top.
Wow, this is so pretty. I can't believe we just made this so fast.
I know, yours just is so pretty, Chef. Mine,
I think it looks amazing.
It's all gonna taste good when it's on the fork.
Yeah, exactly. All right, now tell us a little bit. I want to hear about the mugs real quickly because it's your friend who made them,
Totally, yeah. It's my friend and his business partner, Katie. My friend's Matt Fishman, and we were line cooks together years ago, and he does ceramics full time. And we've been talking about that for years, and they made over 1,000 pieces of ceramics for the restaurant. So we want to take that sort of like, Scratch Made isn't just about like, doing the thing from scratch. It's also about like involving the community and the people that do it. And like, that was just something I was really passionate about, having that in the restaurant. So we try to do that in all parts of the restaurant. So
okay, so let's finish up here and then get a taste
Sure.
What is this that we've got?
This is a little bit of smoked pepper and bay leaf that we grind into a powder. And if you just do, this is the move right here. Just do a little tap, tap, tap.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, that's fun, isn't it?
This looks so yummy.
And then you just put that right on back. And then lastly, we have this very special sauce that we make.
Okay,
and,
wonderful.
I'll do mine, and you guys
I'll let you pour,
and you just kind of pour some of this. What kind of sauce is it? This is a roasted shrimp broth. So we take whole shrimp and roast them, and it's like really concentrated. And then we put all kinds of pepper and other vegetables and all kinds of stuff in there and cook it down for hours. And then we actually put bacon in there too.
Okay, we gotta try.
We're gonna try, and as we do, tell people how they can find you if they want to come out to Early to Rise.
Yeah, well, if you go on our website, I have spoons.
We have spoons, which will work.
Spoons.
Thank you so much, Chef Andrew.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell us again where you're located and how people can find you.
That is going to be at Baker and McAllister Street, and you can make reservations on our website, earlytorisesf.com, and also that's where we do our meats and everything retail too. You can do all the things for the restaurant there. So
good. Yeah. Thank you so much, Chef.
You like that?
We so appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, this is the most incredible shrimp and grits that I've ever had. This is so good.
Yum. Thank you so much. Of course, thanks for coming. All right. Hey, to learn more about Early to Rise, head to our website that is liveinthebay.tv.
Wow, I can't get over the flavor. It's so good.
Cheers.
After the break, we'll have a look at what's coming up tomorrow on the show. But first, here's what you can catch tonight right here on KRON4. Now let's send things over to Justine Waldman for the top headlines coming up on KRON4 News at 2. Justine?
Ladies, thanks so much. Here's what we're working on for KRON4 News at 2. Just days after a wildfire forced residents to move out, people living in the Oakland Hills are now returning home. We'll be live there with their stories. Plus, a show of support today for San Francisco Unified's new superintendent, and tires screeching, rubber burning, how aerial support helped to safely stop a weekend of sideshows. I'm Justine Waldman. I'll see you at the top of the hour for KRON4 News at 2.
That's $78.29.
I've only got $50. Take out the cheese puffs and the broccoli. I mean, who likes broccoli?
I don't. Only $22.87 to go.
It would be faster with the Empower app. Empower Cash Advance gives you up to $300 instantly. No late fees, interest, or credit checks.
I've got money. Keep the cheese puffs, but leave out the broccoli.
Get Empower Cash Advance up to $300 instantly. Download the Empower app today.
Ooh, pretty colors.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
Do you know what can get your friends to vote this year? You can. Because when people are encouraged by friends like you, they're far more likely to vote. So use your power. Ask your friends to make a voting plan at votevotevote.com.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. Really just all about the money.
I am now a person in long-term sustained recovery from substance use. I knew that I had something that could help. So when I tell people like poetry saved my life, hope can save your life, it's not a platitude.
If a natural disaster shows up at your doorstep, you can't just turn it away. That's why it's important to prepare for emergencies before they show up. Go to ready.gov/plan to find the tools and tips you need. And make a plan today.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
That does it for us today. You can find today's show on our website, liveinthebay.tv.
Thank you so much to all of our guests. We had so much fun with everyone, and we finished our bracelets. We are rocking the 90s.
So cute.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.